Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Did you have a good evening so far?
Yes.
Great. Well, my name is Marvin Theodore, and a lot of people in Montreal know me as an amazing personal trainer. Yes. And other people have no clue what I do. Does anyone have no clue what I do? Yeah? Great? All right, awesome. Well, I have a message for the world, and that's how I found Elite Speaker Academy. Okay? And the person who was supposed to be here, Armin Shafi, couldn't make it, and out of nowhere he's like, hey, would you like to go and speak for me instead? Out of nowhere, and I just get up, I'm like, make my day, let's go for it, let's do it. So, how many of you would feel really comfortable if you could speak in front of 100 people with a 2-hour notice? How many people would be interested in that? Yes? Yes? All right, good. Well, that's what's important about it, is that most people feel like it's the worst thing in the world having to talk in front of other people because they feel like anything that could go wrong is going to go wrong. What am I supposed to say? Maybe they're not going to like it. Oh my goodness, why they look at me that way? Everything but connecting with the people in front of you. So today I'm going to make sure that you get as much value as you can from my message, my story, and what Elite Speaker Academies can do for you. Is that good for everyone? Yes? Perfect. So like I said, started my life as a personal trainer. Yes, I started my life as a personal trainer. Just when I was working out on my own, I realized that I could explain certain theories very easily. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go and be a trainer. So everyone's like, hey, Marvin, that's a very beautiful story. Everyone thinks like that it just ends there. I always was in good shape. In reality, what led me to be in good shape is not that much of a beautiful story. And it all started when I had to explain at another speaking event how come I was so synonymous with always having a smile, and then there came a part of my life where I had no more smile, and I had to learn how to gain it back. Would anyone be interested in hearing that story?
Yes.
I gained yes? Perfect. So I realized that when I had to look back, hey, wait a minute, when was I so synonymous with having a smile? I'm like, oh, it's true. When I was in elementary school, I was always running around, being the class clown. Everyone was happy around me. I made people laugh, and I'm like, wow, it's true. I was always happy that time. I'm like, wait a minute. I wasn't maybe happy at that time. And I paid attention. I'm like, wait a minute. That was the time where, growing up in my house, I realized that both of my brothers that I looked up to, and I was always telling to my friends how amazing my brothers were, I did not understand why my brothers hated my guts so much and would never want to spend time with me. I had 2 older brothers, and they never wanted to spend time with me. They hated my guts. They couldn't stand being around me. So imagine me, this guy growing up, that seems to be smiling all the time, but in my own home, I was homeless. In my own home. Like my own brothers don't like me, and I like them. I like people that don't like me. How does that work? So what happened when I get outside? That love that I would have wanted to have with them, someone had to get it. I had to get someone's attention, and it was the people that were at the school that were giving me that attention back that fueled me to keep going forward in life. So when you're kind to someone, and you're responding to the energy that they're giving to you, you have no idea who you're giving the energy back to when you respond to someone, when someone is hurt by you. Now, what happened here afterwards was this. I started working out at the gym to beat the crap out of my oldest brother. Told you, there's nothing noble about it. I was like, that's it. That is it. Enough is enough. And I really worked out at the gym for like 2 years. And I got into the room, I opened the door, and I was like, that's it. All right, that's it. And he's like, whoa, okay, what's going on? He's like, yeah. Because what's going on here, when I'm fed up and when I'm challenging you, is because you're the oldest brother. There's this book on Proverbs. I know you're reading it too. And I give you a chance. It's been over 10 weeks we've been reading that book, and you haven't been reading it. So that was my last chance I was giving to you, and now I'm going to speak up because you're the oldest brother. You're supposed to be an example in the house. You're supposed to have younger brothers look up to you and be like, oh, that's what I should be doing, but that's not what I see from you. And I wish I could see that from you because I'm not getting that right now. So this is why I feel like I need to get up and I need to say something to you, because obviously there's some things that you're not seeing or hearing or feeling or not realizing of what you could be doing and who's actually looking up to you. And what happened there is, at that specific moment, I think my brother was forced to realize and pay attention to something that he never really paid attention to. Why did you hate my guts for no reason growing up? And he actually had to think for the first time. And I think it was for the first time he realized it himself. He's like, wow, because you were the planned one. Meaning somewhere he had understood that I was planned out of the other brothers, and automatically the self-worth of him and my other brother obviously was not really that high. That's a conclusion they made out of it. Do you really think we have to talk about that ever again in our lives? So I realized one thing here, that now the relationship that I have with my brother is amazing today, and it has been amazing ever since that specific point. When I decide to use something that we would level or label as negative, anger, it actually allowed someone to pay attention to what was actually really hurting them. And the relationship now had a second chance, and we were able to reestablish something that was actually meant to be like that all along. But what about if I would have never stepped up? What about if I would have never decided to do something about it? See, most problems, it's not about what actually happened, it's about what was not said at the right time. All this time, all these years growing up, he was holding this message in, never realizing that everything that was fueling his actions or his inactions were things that he never really paid attention to. And you're gonna let that fuel you, and then you have a company that you own, and then you have a family that you want to grow, and you don't have that habit of paying attention to what's really actually hurting you. And that's why for me, I couldn't just be a personal trainer anymore. When I know when a person comes into my office, I know what they're really dealing with. They're not really talking about it. And they're trying to think that but just by going up with the reps, no pain, no gain, everything's gonna fix itself. Well, if they really realized what was really going on, they'd be signing up for a different type of class. But they would do this also, but for the right reasons. To pay attention to how they are at that present moment. And that's what I do with people now when I train with them. I get them to pay attention to how they are at that present moment. See, if you know who you are, the best of yourself, the truth, at the worst moment, when things get critical, you won't say stuff that will disrespect that positive curve you have about yourself. The best of yourself, you won't say stuff that will disrespect that reputation. That is the truth about the best of who you really are. If only someone could remind you of that when that situation is critical. And that's why I want to teach people when they're at the gym. You choose the critical way that you know you really need to focus to get it right. So I practice being on the edge of something and getting things right versus so easy for me to find what's wrong in someone else. So when I said my message, I have a message for the world, it's this, is that it comes in two parts. And the first part is that pain tells you to pay attention. Pain tells you to pay attention. And when you realize what's really giving you pain, you won't really be yelling at a person that has nothing to do with it. Because someone's going to get it. If you don't get it, someone's going to get it. My second message, like the second part of it is this, is I realize that there's three things that will always come back, and this is the part where you really want to take down notes. The three things that I've concluded that no matter what human is going through, this is just laws of nature. Number one is this. You have received a gift of energy that is individual to you. It doesn't matter about the person that has washboard abs in the magazine cover. It has nothing to do with them. Even your friend that encourages you to go to the gym with them. Okay? Even them. Your gift of energy is individual to you, and you have to find the different ways, yes, in plural, where you can spend that depending on when you're going to have a good day or a bad day. So there's always something happening any day. I just solved like 80% of the problems with people that can't work out. Yeah, there's different options for you to spend that energy. But it's different for each person. When you get it, it's like your medicine. There's a truth that you could tell yourself, I do feel better. So you get to reinforce that self-marketing. I do feel better. Okay? That's number one. Number two, the second gift that you have. And like I said, if you don't spend that gift, I just want to reinforce it, you harm yourself. Because that's the amount of energy that you need to spend in that day, that if you don't, it comes back and hurts your system because it was designed to expend that amount of energy. So once again, pay attention to yourself. Number 2, your emotions. Every emotion that you have needs to be expressed in some way. It needs to be heard, feel understood, and respected. So if you don't know how to express them in a respectful way, at the right time, where you're the person's most responsive, then that will come back and harm you. Guaranteed. And these are 2 things where your body comes back and silently, it lets you know gradually and explodes that it was angry. Because it was trying to tell you something that you never developed the sensitivity to pay attention that that's what was going on all along. Yeah, well, when you're hurt or injured or ill, now you have the sensitivity. Does that have to happen for you to start getting into more activity? So number 2 is me being able to feel heard and respected with the emotions that I have. Yes, we need to express them, but in a way where it does not harm the person that's hearing it. Okay? So respect here. And the last one is a message that you have for the world, meaning that your life, if it had to take a stand for something that's way greater than you, okay, what team would you get on and speak that message from? Meaning, what is meaningful and fulfilling for you in your life? Is that expressed? Because if you never took the time to see that there was actual pain in your life, that you're living because you're not paying attention to that, well, you need to start paying attention to that. They're fulfilling, meaningful activities that I never took the time to realize that, hey, maybe I'm not expressing that. When did I stop doing those things? So what I find as a great strategy for people is to get them to find what's meaningful for them, with the level of energy they need to spend, with the amount of emotions that they feel the most likely to express, that they need to express. Now you have all 3 in one activity, but at least you're going to get it done all the time. It's just making those things simple. So those 3 things are the 3 things that will harm you if they don't get expressed in some way. And all your emotions, like I said, it's something that needs to be heard. Every emotion that you feel, even any negative emotion that you feel, is something that needs to be heard. So we need to start paying attention to ourselves. Now, my name is Marvin Theodore, and I'm happy that you were able to listen to this part of it, to my message. And I really like to thank you for really being like a really good audience, really being there with me. And I'll even explain to you what I was doing here, so that you could, like I said, get as much value as possible from our time together. Is that all right?
Yes.
Thank you. So what I did at the beginning is, instead of being in my head, I did what we call a powerful pause. It was not a technique. It was like I have to powerfully stand there and attempt to make real contact. I can't fake this. You won't fake it till we make it on this one. I have to make a real connection because I'll need you to make it through. And any moment I would get in my head, I just need to get back at you and look back at you because you don't want me to mess this up. So by looking at you, I can't mess this up. See? And that's another trick that you have when you're speaking. The people in the audience don't want you to mess up for real. And if they could give you anything, they would. So look at them for inspiration when you need to speak. I used the crap out of you today. You need to go on a date. I'm sorry. That's the truth. That's what I did. Okay? And those are the things that I learned at Elite Speaker Academy. They're very simple. Is that it's not about the content. Oh my goodness, what am I going to memorize? It's more about the context of what are you here for? And if you're someone that is already used to exercising their core, who they are, things that are meaningful to them, it's kind of easier to kind of swimming in what is your essence and what you stand for. Okay, so then it becomes much easier for you to be able to do that. So once again, the context that you're able to set is the most important thing, and being able to communicate heart to heart is going to be the most important thing. So for anyone that's a speaker, that's an author, that's a coach, being able to speak up at the right time, even for your relationships, is something that's going to be extremely important. So in terms of business, in terms of your relationship, these are tools that I find are just essential for us to be able to do. Because I don't have to try to come and memorize a script. I just have to come heart to heart, be here with you, and just remember myself at all times. And if anyone knows or everyone remembers, what is meditation? If anyone knows what meditation is?
Take a pause, you close your eyes, and you breathe.
Take a pause, you close your eyes, and you breathe. And you know what that enables you to do? To know yourself at that time. It allows you to be present. So being able to be present while in interaction with other people, you can't let your head get in the way. You have to be heart to heart in an active meditation, meaning I know myself, I know my truth, I know my message, and then there's only enough room for this and connecting heart to heart. That's all there is. There's not enough space for anything else. And that's the way I was able to deliver this message here with even just a 2 hours notice. Okay? It's not that complicated, right? So, does it work, Elite Speaker Academy? Yes, it works. I did over like 4 different shows or seminars of Elite Speaker Academy because I was hired there also as a supervisor. And my first chance that I got to be able to speak in half an hour, I did $1,200 in half an hour. Can we applaud that, please? Yeah? And that's what I'm doing like today right now. Okay? And it's that simple, once again, once you know what your message is and you have a message to share. And that's what it's for. I have a message, and I want to make sure that my message is understood, and I could just speak from my heart, and I don't have to get complicated in my head and step all night about what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. Well, just be you and connect from your heart. You know, and then the other logistics, well, we'll cover that too, but if you get that, you have everything. So what I'll do right now is I'll let you know that I will be in the back. In the back completely, you see a banner. If anyone could look backwards, there's a banner. I'm going to be behind that banner. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay there because I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions that you might have of, really, what is it? Look, listen, I'm just here to share my story and to let you know as a living proof this really works and completely changed my life. And if you have more questions, you can see me in the back. The course, the price, the details, when it's going to be, those are all things that we can work out. It's in the back, there are payment plans, and we'll call you back on Monday with the specialist that'll have more information. I'm going to be there to answer just about any question that you have because I was also one of the assistant speakers there at the previous one. So once again, I've seen it left and right. I see people like you going in there and coming out completely different people. So I'm at the right place to let you know if this is a good thing for you or not. So any questions you have, please see me in the back. And I really would like to thank you once again for being here. Please do not hesitate to go in the back. And thank you so much, everyone.